Welcome to the Filthy Kitchen. And since this is the Filthy Kitchen and I am the Squadman, that can only mean one thing. Filthy kitchen cooking with the Squadman. Yes, I'm wearing my classic Batman t-shirt. I believe this is the Batman sign from the Tim Burton Batman with my favorite Batman, Michael Keaton, #1 in my books. He's the Batman I wouldn't say grew up with, because by the time that movie came out, I was already an adult. But yeah, I was too old for that 60s Batman, and I missed that. I was too young for that, I should say. I wasn't born. And yeah, I didn't really watch the cartoon ones except for the Saturday morning cartoons that had the superheroes, all Superman and Batman and all them. But of course I was a Superman lover back then. But anyway, somebody gave me this shirt. Somebody gave me a bunch of used t-shirts. I guess they were used or unsold or something, but I got a bunch of these Green Lantern and this Batman, and I think I have another Batman that got a big stain on it where some powerful cleaning solution got on it and turned it all orange. But anyway, I digress. Here we are, Filthy Kitchen Cooking. I'm the Squadman. I am going to cook some eggs. Yeah, huevos, as the Spanish among you like to say. Huevos. And while I'm at it, I will make what I call a salad, and what other people call a monstrosity. But I'm the one who's going to eat it, so I will eat it, and you don't have to eat it, so you can just watch. But I do want me some protein. I have to say, I did my 10 miles on the bike today. I'm very happy about that. And I did 7 rounds of boxing. 7 5-minute rounds of boxing, not 3-minute rounds. So I'm very happy that I got back into the swing of things with the boxing. I did not stretch and I did not lift weights, but anyway, 2 out of 4 is better than 1 out of 4. And yeah, even though it's quite late now, there is a slight possibility, probably not going to happen, of me actually lifting some weights. But yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, so I probably shouldn't have even mentioned it. But anyway, that's it. I got to act my age sometimes, and although when I was a younger man, I used to exercise 4 hours a day. Now, at my age, I'm lucky to get in an hour. But, you know, I did 45 minutes on the bike. I did actually more than 10 miles, but I'll call it 10 miles. I burned up 600 calories, put it that way. And I'm sure I burned up more than 600 calories with my boxing routine, but there's no way to tell because I don't have any type of monitor for that. But it was a success. It was very tough. It was very hard. I haven't done a boxing routine in a month or so, probably more. But more or less around a month, I would imagine. So my body was very happy to get back into the boxing. My body's been screaming for some boxing that it hasn't been getting. But I might feel bad tomorrow, but that's fine. I don't have to work tomorrow night, so I should have some time to recover from tonight's boxing routine. And if all goes well, I did 7 rounds orthodox, so hopefully tomorrow I can do 7 rounds southpaw. That's how I have done it for years. I switch it up. I alternate. One day I'll box ortho, and the other day I'll box southpaw. And I've always done that. I've always been a pretty ambidextrous guy. I was born left-handed and I live in a right-handed world, but I've always tried both. I play guitar right-handed. I'm sure I would have been a better guitarist if I played left-handed, but when I started playing guitar, I figured, you know, I was studying French in Montreal at the time and living in the housing, or whatever it's called, the dormitory, and several of the guys there had guitars, and I had broken my finger first day I got there. Somebody threw a football at me and said, "Hey, look," and I just went like this, and the football struck me right on the finger, and it was actually a telescopic fracture. Very terrible. The doctor told me my finger would be straight for the rest of my life, but every night I'd take the splint off and I'd force it to bend, and I didn't care because being a martial artist, making a fist was always very important to me, and I didn't want to be going around like this all the time. I mean, it's fine if I want to pick my nose or something, but otherwise, or look over there. I mean, it's great for pointing, but otherwise it was pretty useless. So I forced myself every night and got full motion of my finger. The only time I really notice it now is in bad weather or whatever. I kind of feel it in my broken bones that have healed. But anyway, I digress. So while I was living in dormitory, hanging out with the other guys there studying French, a few of them had guitars, and since I had to learn how to write with my right hand, which I can do, I can write with both hands, I can write upside down with both hands, I can write backwards with both hands. Since I learned to write with my right hand quite well, I said, well, I'm going to try to keep my ambidextrous if that's a word, keep that going. So I started playing guitar. I got the guys, I borrowed their guitar. It's very difficult to find a left-handed guitar. And I figured, you know, this will be fine at like a fire or a barbecue or a house party or whatever. Somebody out at a cabin, somebody plays past the guitar, play a few songs. I didn't know I would actually take to it and become a musician, and which I did, and actually stick with the guitar more seriously. But now I regret that I didn't start left-handed, and some of you might say, well, why don't you switch? Well, I had been playing guitar for about 10 years, and then I said, yeah, maybe I should switch. So I switched, and I started trying to play left-handed. But I just said, no, I don't want to relearn this from scratch again. I'm not Paul McCartney. I'm not Jimi Hendrix. I can't, those guys could do it. I can't do that. Jimi Hendrix actually was very interesting because he could play a right-handed guitar, left-handed upside down, which basically meant it was strung opposite. And I think the guitarist Dick Dale used to do the same thing. Dick Dale, one of the finest guitarists of all time, who plays that Miserlou, one of the theme songs from the Pulp Fiction soundtrack. Very wonderful beach surf type song. Very hard to play if you play it correctly. But yeah, he used to play a right-handed guitar, left-handed upside down, strung as a right-handed guitar. And although Jimi Hendrix could do that, he generally strung his right-handed guitar lefty and played it lefty, which was interesting as well. But he could also play it the other way, and as could Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney can play it that way as well, which I found very interesting. But of course, these guys are much better than I've ever been and ever will be, I'm sure. But I digress. Anyway, the point is, I started playing guitar as a right-handed player, and yeah, I kept at it that way. And although it's not really natural and I'm not really a great guitarist as a result, I don't have the interest to switch it. And when I learned to play drums, it was the same. I played drums as a right-handed player, mainly because when I was in bands and things like that, if I was going to get on the drum set, I wasn't going to switch it around or anything, and I wasn't going to set it up. And plus, I bought an electronic drum kit that was already set up, and if I wanted to take that apart and try to put it back together as a left-handed player, it was just, yeah, too much work. I wasn't interested in that. And most of the time I played in bands, or again, if I was at somebody's house and they had a drum kit, it would have been set up for a right-handed player, so I just said, yeah, I'll play it as a right-handed player, so, you know. That's what I did. So yeah, point is, I do my boxing ambidextrously, right and left, which, you know, Bruce Lee always said, have your strong hand forward. So although Bruce Lee was right-handed, he fought in a southpaw stance. And the reason he did that was because his main punch was the jab. And he did a lot with his front arm and with his front leg. So although he was in the southpaw stance, meaning his left hand was behind and his left leg was behind, he worked the jab more than anything. And yeah, so his right hand would be jabbing and he would do a lot of front leg kicks like that. So, and wrestlers as well. Wrestlers like to have their dominant side forward. So if you're a right-handed wrestler, you're generally going to be right hand forward. And judo is the same. There's no real, when I did judo, basically when you do judo, everybody does it as a righty because you lock up in a certain way. And also I did kendo for a while, and it was the same thing. When I was in Korea, my school was a kendo school. Every high school in Korea has a specific sport, and my sport was a kendo school. So I was actually the assistant coach of the kendo team for a while because the main coach was the school counselor, and he spoke English, and his office was right next to my classroom, and he's the guy I hung out with most of the time when I was in Korea. He wanted to practice his English. He liked me. I liked him. On Saturday, he would be there coaching the kendo kids. So I went along as well and coached the kendo kids as the assistant coach. And although I did some kendo, I didn't really enjoy it because it was all done right-handed. There's no such thing as left-handed kendo. But I was in the fencing club when I was in university. I was in a bunch of combat clubs in university, but I fenced as a lefty. That's Western fencing. You can fence left, you can fence right, and I did fence as a lefty, which is also dominant hand forward. So when I was fencing, it was dominant hand forward. But anyway, long story short, too late, it's a long story. The kendo, the kendo when I did in Korea, it was called kumdo in Korea. Although I didn't play kumdo or kendo, I could coach it. I mean, all the principles are the same in martial arts, you know, speed, power, balance, flexibility. You know, I can coach. Those who can't do, teach, somebody once said. This isn't exactly true, but there's some truth to it. And being a lifelong martial artist since the age of 7, I had no trouble coaching and seeing what they needed to do, even though I wasn't exactly a kumdo player. Anyway, this video has gotten way longer than I thought it would, so I'm just going to throw some cheese in these eggs. These eggs are pretty well done. This is kind of late for me to add the cheese, but anyway, that's it. We got into a conversation, and c'est la vie. C'est la vie. So I'm going to make one of my world famous salads shortly, and I'll leave the eggs. And I've got 2 eggs left. I was saying, oh, should I cook those last 2 eggs? And I said, I'll save them. I gotta buy some eggs probably tomorrow. So anyway, I better take care of these eggs before I shut down the video, or else I run the risk of burning them. So this video is going to continue a little longer than I had hoped, so bear with me, people. Bear with me, please. I'll turn the heat off. There's lots of heat in that pan. All right, so yeah, who loves you, baby? This guy, don't forget it. And I feel great. I got some cardio in. I didn't lift any weights, unfortunately. I'd like to. Probably won't do it now. It's probably too late for that. But yeah, it's nice to get back to the boxing. My tooth has been experiencing a lot of pain today. Not as bad as it was when it was really bad, but not as good as I would like it to be. But anyway, remember, you're somebody's favorite person out there, probably mine. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed spending some time with me. I enjoyed spending time with you. If you're going through tough times, let's hope that these tough times pass sooner rather than later, and hang in there, and just remember that I love you. And yeah, until next time, goodbye.